Thank you, Chair, and thank you to all the witnesses for your attendance virtually and your participation in this important study. With time permitting, I'd like to ask questions for all three. I will start with Deputy Chief Chapdelaine. Thank you for your appearance. I've had the privilege of attending your city a number of times over the spring and summer, and met with, I believe, the acting chief at the time, and also the president of the Edmonton Police Association, predominantly to talk about bail issues and sentencing issues. We never really got into protests and hateful demonstrations that have plagued this country over the last several years. So I'd like to know, because when I do my tours across the country, I get a lot of mixed reviews from community members and stakeholders about the differences displayed by police services in relation to how they deal with these type of protests. And I'm not going to mention the jurisdiction, but I've actually had a couple of jurisdictions where they basically said they take their marching orders from the local municipality. And if the local municipality has a political persuasion to allow these types of events to occur, they've been instructed to act not necessarily as sworn-in police officers, but more or less just peacekeepers. And I've had numerous examples brought to my attention of open acts of criminality, and the police simply are not charging. So I'd like to know from your perspective what is happening on the ground in Edmonton.
Thank you for the question. So in regards to that, like we have built up in Edmonton a large, a contingent of members who work specifically with multiple communities around these kind of events. Obviously, our direction to our membership is not driven so much by the municipality, but by ourselves as executives in here, and what our expectations are about treating all people equally, right? Protecting the grounds that people have for freedom of speech, but ensuring that it's done in a manner that is respectful of others. And so I know, with EPS, and I mentioned it in some of the other stuff, with our ability to have a very active hate crimes unit as compared to many other police of jurisdiction, we work closely together with our hate crimes unit, with our police liaison team who work with some of the protests as these things come up, and have built strong relationships with community to understand when these things are going to happen, or people want to have events, particularly in Edmonton. We have it at our provincial legislative grounds. We work closely with them to ensure that it's done in a safe manner. Of course, we try and lay out those expectations and develop what this is going to look like prior to these events. So a lot of it comes down to some good planning and making sure that people are abiding by it. And if there is a need to do any further enforcement, right, we work through that. We don't necessarily will act immediately upon, then we'll continue to take that and investigate if there's a need afterwards.
Thank you, Chief. I have limited time, so unfortunately I have to cut you off there. Is it fair to say that those who have crossed the line of criminality with respect to these demonstrations, your service has made arrests where warranted?
I would say so. We haven't done very many arrests in that regard, but where there have been some, we have looked at what they've been doing. Now, what the charges were laid may have been, like I said, the mischief. It might not have been totally in regards to the hate crimes.
Do you have the view? Yes. Do you have the view that there are existing laws in place under the criminal code to deal with these issues surrounding protests and the hate that is demonstrated at the protests, that the tools already exist and is not necessarily required that Bill C-9 provide additional police powers? Are you of that view, yes or no?
I'd say yes and no. I think there are laws that exist right now that we utilize because that's what we have to lean on. I think some of the changes in Bill C-9 provide the ability for us to lay the appropriate charges and capture that exactly about what exactly we're seeing and dealing with. And that's part of the problem of being able to not communicate what this looks like, is because we don't have specific charge types that capture this appropriately.
You said in your opening statement that you're supportive of the removal of AG consent. I wholeheartedly, with respect, disagree with you. As a former Crown attorney, I did not think the process to be overly cumbersome, and it provided the necessary overview mechanism when dealing with laying of these unique charges that we often do not see on a regular basis. But there is a problem with Bill C-9, and it's eliminated the oversight, the Crown oversight with respect to private prosecutions. Do you appreciate the error and the problem that exists?
Well, I just think right now, because there is so much gray in this space, that's why there's a need when we're exploring these kind of charges that we need to have that conversation. I think with some more specificity around what these charges are, I think that the things that are in place right now to allow for the Crown prosecutors to work with police to make sure we reach the level that's required can happen and can occur.
Okay. With time permitting, I'm going to turn matters over to Mr. Is that my time? I don't have time. I'm sorry to the rest of the panelists.